Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with ReadyNet Solutions. Today's host is Bill Pedersen, and he is their Voice Product Director and will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Bill will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Bill, I am finished for now. Thank you so much for being with us today. You can go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate everyone's time this morning, and hopefully the information that we present here will be edify everyone and open some thoughts and ideas with not only your business practices, but also with regards to ReadyNet Solutions. We're so thankful to have Microcom Technologies host this webinar today. And we'll have an opportunity to talk about questions that you might have in regards to our products and services. And hopefully we'll go through this in a very timely manner here as well. Today's product that we're going to be talking about is the ReadyNet WR1200. This is an AC wireless router that we introduced a little over a year ago and has done very, very well for ReadyNet, and we'll show you some applications with it from a management perspective and how to maximize its full potential. The ReadyNet WR1200 is an AC wireless router up to 1200 megabits of data throughput. We've got 4 LAN ports on the back of the device and 1 WAN port that are 10100 gig ports. The device also supports Tier 69 option 66 for provisioning as well also. A very good router. Now this is a different style of router because typically most of our routers are more upright. This one's kind of a flat, almost what I would call about a 8x8 square router with a metal top plate on it that holds the device nice and firmly on the tabletop, the countertop, or wherever you have that in the home without it pulling off the shelf. I really, this is one of my favorite routers. I think it's one of the probably the best AC router that ReadyNet has developed. It has really good coverage within the home. We've done some testing to get some range experience from it, and we've seen this device cover, and every home's different. So let me just start out by saying it might not be suitable for every application, but I threw this into a home out in eastern Utah, and they've got about a 6,800 square foot home, multi-level, and they just kind of placed it in the middle where their fiber comes into their home, and they're able to cover the upstairs and the downstairs basement as well as the main floor and get complete coverage on their home with it. So we're very pleased with this on its performance and the coverage that it has. Just kind of go over some of the feature sets here if you're watching your screen. Like I mentioned, WAN port, 4 LAN, these are all 10 base 100 and also gig ports on the back. 802 up to 1200 megabits per second. Gets really good coverage on the 2.4 Wi-Fi as well as the 5 gig radio as well too. Like I mentioned, option 66, you've got TFTP, HTTP, HTTPS, and Tier 69 that you can use for provisioning if you've got some remote provisioning servers that you like to point these to. Now, one of the questions I get a lot, and I'll kind of throw it out there right now, is okay, we have our own Tier 69 server. Can you point this to our Tiro 69 server. We actually have a pre-provisioning server, what I would call our zero-touch provisioning, and I know Polycom uses that term a lot, ZTP, so I'm going to steal it for the moment. But yeah, we can pre-provision. Actually, once we have your provisioning guidelines that are needed for the router, we have a separate provisioning server that the routers talk to initially. And what they go out and do is when they connect to the network, they talk to our what we call our cloud device, and that's where we'll hold all the credentials for the router. With that, the router will then download and apply these configurations to the router itself and update. So there's really not a lot that you need to do from a remote perspective. Maybe maybe at the most, if you have the customer's SSID information and you want to set up their Wi-Fi before the truck rolls out and does the installation, you can actually do that in a couple of ways, through our cloud or through Nexus, our remote management, which we'll show you here shortly. So yeah, multi-level web management interfaces that you can play around with on Wi-Fi. We do 128-bit encryption, WEP, WPA, WPA2, PAC, and WPA PSK encryption as well. There is a USB port on the back of it, 2.0, that you can use for external storage devices and or connect a printer to. All of the 4 antennas are 5 dBi antennas on the device, so you can position these in any position. They are not detachable. They are a permanent antenna, but if you wall mount this, you can actually turn these and adjust them accordingly for exceptional coverage from within the home. On the back of our data sheets, and all of our data sheets, if you go to readynet-solutions.com, you can go into the product section and pull up this information and download these data sheets as well. But it's kind of pretty straightforward for the most part. We do support 4 SSIDs on the device. So if you want to set up a guest SSID or one for the kids, you can do that separately on the device. Excuse me. Get some water here for a real quick second. Okay. So yeah, it's very flexible, and you can also set up isolation. So let's say if you've got a home office environment, which has been very, very popular during this whole COVID pandemic, you can isolate your home network from your work network through AP isolation as well. Protocols that we support there, you can take a look at that. Pretty straightforward, we talked about just a moment ago. Network protocols as well. Pretty, like I say, these are very simple, very straightforward. I'm not gonna read through each one of them, but let you take a look at it. Our remote management, this is what differentiates us a little bit from some of our competition, is we not only offer Tiro 69 web management, which is a standard that's been around for a long time. A lot of ISPs have their own Tiro 69 server. You can still use your Tiro 69 server. This is where then we would want to provision the router to talk to your server on initial check-in and download any credentials or any updates that are needed at that time. And we'll go over Nexus, our server that we have that we use on this. Power supply is pretty straightforward. It's a universal, 100, 240 AC input, cover just about anywhere. It's 12 volt 2 amp, but our operating current is 1.4 amp. And then you've got your environmentals as well, operating conditions, which are pretty straightforward. Flash, 32 meg, RAM, this is where it gets really fun. We actually have lots of memory. 512 megabit of DDR3 RAM, which is oodles. So if there's an application or something that you're thinking that you might want to consider running on the back end, we actually have partnered with a company called Minim. Minim is a company that does remote management as well and offers remote management services to ISPs, especially for those that require or have CAF funding, because they can also show compliance through the reports that they have, their tailored reports for CAF funding. And we've been running Minim on the WR1200 now for quite some time. And you can get more information from Minim at their website at I think it's just minim.com, and you can talk to them about the WR1200 and the applications. So you can basically pick up this router from just about anywhere and have these third-party programs installed. So 1-year warranty, and then our operating systems, we are running OpenWRT on this one at this time. So let's talk about, we'll just kind of scroll this back up to the top here. Let's talk about management. Management is one of my favorite. It's a nice application where you can now utilize and gather a ton of information regarding your own network and also your customers' devices that are online. So you'll see when you log in to the Nexus portal, this is the first page you'll see. You'll come to the dashboard, and you're going to see all the devices that you have online. That's kind of some bad colors there. They do change as you log in to different colors. It just kind of rotates around, but it shows you your devices. Now we have 2 products that are supported on the Nexus platform. We have the LTE 500, which is one of our LTE products, and we have the WR1200, so you can see the ratio. And then also you can see how many devices are online versus offline on here. And so when you have this information, you kind of just get a sense, an idea, okay, how come I've got all these other devices that are offline? They should be online. There's a couple of answers for that, and we'll one of them could be they could be pre-provisioned and they're just sitting there waiting to be installed, or you might have some network issues going on. Traffic by weekday and traffic by hour, you can actually select and choose which traffic that you want to look at by just clicking on the one that you don't want to see. So if I want to see my upload by the week, I can close out my download. If I want to see my download, I can just close out my upload. And I can do this on a daily basis, a monthly basis, or an annual basis for the data that we're looking at. I can also see my traffic here across this bar on a historical histogram type scale here with, we start here at July 26th. And we're here through August. So we see a month's worth of information given here, and we can change that to annual or daily. We can change the charts a little bit and pull up different information as well too. Just some, simple stuff that we can look at from a dashboard perspective. But the meat and potatoes sits here within the devices. So as we look at our devices, we have our device name. You can name these however you want. You've got your MAC serial number and of course the account number. Since I'm a super user, I'm looking at a number of I can see everything. I can see the models, the firmware version, and then also when it last checked in. Now you're going to notice this one here on line 10, this Turner Security. This device checked in 3 minutes ago, but since it has checked in, it did go offline within that last 3 minutes. And so anything that's in this solid blue area is going to be online and active. Anything in white is going to show that it's offline. So I have some immediate information here regarding this router. And so it gives you kind of a quick snapshot. Now I'm going to go into one of my routers here at the office here. I'm going to just do a search, Bill's office 123. And if I click on this name, I can get some great information here. I can see my connection history. Everything in blue shows online. Everything in red is when I had it offline. Could be for a simple reboot, could be a power outage, could be a number of things. But you'll notice that it's time stamped also with the time and day, and then also with the IP address that I'm connected to. So good information. You can kind of see if that changes or varies. If I just want to show only my connected time, I can just cross that out. But this is good information because I can do month and year as well on this. So if I got a customer that's calling in and saying, hey, I'm having a lot of outages here, we're dropping off quite a bit, this is a great place to start to go to the connection history and kind of see what's going on. So we actually store all this information within our servers. So on future updates, you'll be able to actually run a report and get historical information on this stuff as well. So network interfaces, this just shows me my traffic. On my LAN connection, shows me I'm set up as a static IP, shows me how long I've been running. This one's been running for 23 hours, 36 minutes since I last rebooted. I can also look at my WAN interface. I can also see my primary internet connection that I have coming into my WAN, see my inbound and my outbound traffic. And then I can also look at my Wi-Fi 6, or not my Wi-Fi 6, but IPv6 WAN information if I have that running. Wireless interfaces, I can see what's going on with my wireless. I don't do a lot with wireless here in the office. On this device, I can see my DHCP leases, check and see what devices are connected to my router. You can see we've got a lot of ReadyNet and Polycom devices. Then you can look at my wireless host, which like I said, I don't have any wireless. So that's just a quick snapshot. To drill down into it, I can just go to this little three-wheel cog here, click on this, and now I can go in and pull up a lot of that same information, but I can get more data as well also. I can go in and check out my configuration for the system. I can look at my WAN. I've got that set for DHCP. If I need to change that, I can go ahead and make those changes there. I can go to my LAN, change my starting IP address, maybe change the number of leases that I want for my network. And I can also go in and check out my wireless. Diagnostics up here, I can run a bunch of diagnostics and see what's going on. I can run trace routes, I can run ping tests, I can do Wi-Fi scans. This one's not looking too bad. My home router, I think I've got about 150 Wi-Fi access points on the 2.4. It's crazy. And then I can run speed tests. And we're going to look at speed tests. We're going to check with the closest server. And so if you're providing your own hosted voice service, or not hosted voice, hosted data services on there, this will automatically point to your servers as well. So you can check and see what speeds they currently have. I can also look at my 5 gig radio as well. And it is simple to do as like this was done just 6 minutes ago, did a ping test. This one was done 25 days ago. All I have to do is just hit the rotating wheel says the request has been sent, wait about 8 seconds, and it's going to come back and give me updated information. And it's also going to show you here that this information was updated. My Wi-Fi scan on my 2.4, it's been a couple of months. So we have right now 24. Let's see what we have today. Hopefully that number is going down, but I doubt it will, because if you look at all the ReadyNet devices that is showing up, it did go down, just went down by a few, but still show all my ReadyNet devices, which doesn't surprise me. But this is really awesome information, because now I can see the signal strength, I can see the channels that could be conflicting, and if I need to make changes, I can do that. Moving on to the preference tabs, this is where I can name my device. I've got my MAC address, and I've got my serial number and the make and model of the device. This you won't see as a selection, but this is where we would then, if you needed, we can move devices into your profile if they somehow got missed. All we need is the MAC and serial number, and we can move that. Firmware, we can take a look at our current firmware. We're on 20.6 here, and I can also go look at my historical options for firmware as well too, and make changes and apply those. I'm going to go back to my configurations here. I'm going to go play with my wireless LAN, because this is kind of cool. I'll just play with the 2.4. If I want to change this to the Jones family, and this works on any setting that you have, even our firmware updates. Once I type it in, I just hit save. And then you're going to notice that this new task, I have one task, and it's ready to be sent to the device. I'm going to go to my LAN settings, and I'm going to change my number of DHCP leases to 200. I hope this doesn't kill me, but I think all my addresses are fairly low. So you'll notice now I've got two tasks over here. I can make tasks and change from screen to screen without having to force it to the device here, okay? So now I've got three tasks. I've changed the Jones family, number of leases, and I also changed my device name to 1234 at the very end. But when I'm ready to send it, boom, it sends out immediately. It's already updated. So now when I go back to my devices here, it shows the Bill Pedersen just checked in. Looks like one of my other routers just checked in. It's already named at 1234. And it shows that it just checked in a few seconds ago. So it's all real time. I can go back, look at my wireless. Yep, there's the Jones family, it's in there. And whoops, on my LAN, I can see my DHCP leases are 200. I'm gonna change that back to 250. I'm gonna go change my wireless back to ReadyNet WR1200, because I know Jones family is gonna mess me up. Hit save there. And system, I'm going to change that 1234 to 12345. Hit save, push it all to the device. The router is automatically updated, and you'll see I got bumped right back up to the top, because once I send this information back, it's saying, yep, you've already need to check back in, and it's checked back in, and now we have the 12345, and we have all the information in there. So very, very, very powerful information. Our LTE product would be just a little bit different because we do have an LTE interface. So when you go to configurations, whoops, I'm on someone else's router. I didn't get on mine. So let me go to here. We do have an LTE tab. So if you need to add an APN to it, you can do that for your connectivity for our devices that have APN LTE interfaces. So with that, Julie, I'll turn the time back over to you and see if there's any questions that we might have in regards to the WR1200 or the management portal that we now have for our newer products.
Thank you, Bill, very much for that wonderful presentation. And yes, I do have some questions for you. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Here we go. Regarding remote management, are your devices configurable at any location?
Configurable at any location. I probably need a little bit more information on that. But if you're saying if the question is if I plug in a device and I need to remotely change that once it's already connected to that location, yeah, from our end control, or not our end control, from our cloud or from Nexus, we can change the configuration.
Excellent, thank you. I'm sure you answered the question for the asker. Okay, next question here for you. Since you are using OpenWRT, will it remove the warranty, for example, if a customer customizes and installs a different firmware on it?
That's a really good question. I appreciate that question because we actually have had some customers do that with some of our other products. And so we provide, we warranty the hardware and the firmware. So, but if you change the firmware and for some reason it bricks the router, you can send it in to us and we'll try to fix it or help you fix it, give you some guidance. We can't really support third-party firmware for OpenWRT that we don't have control of and that. But from a hardware perspective, if the hardware does break within the warranty period, even if it's on someone else's firmware, yeah, we would warranty that hardware.
Thank you very much for that, Bill. Next question here. It's kind of long. It looks like a two-part question, so I'll read the whole thing to you. Let's see. Does the Nexus device management support levels of login information, admin users, etc.,
yes,
where it restricts its accounts for any changes made on the account?
Yes. That's okay. So that was a good question. Yeah. So we do support various different logins. We use token key configurations for these accounts to make them secure. And on the users, when we add a new user, if you see your screen, I can select that role for that user. So we can make them an account admin, a read-only, or just a user. Super admins are for here at ReadyNet. Yeah, to answer your question. Now, second part of that question is can we identify who makes those changes from that user profile? Currently, right now, we do not have that information available, but we are working on adding that feature to the management portal. So once you do make a change on a device, you will be able to see the changes that were applied in a history of that device. So once we log in, we can provide some historical information over here in the preferences under the profile. I think that's where we're going to attach it. It's next to the firmware section. But yeah, very good question. Thank you. That was well thought through.
Thank you so much, Bill. Next question here for you. Will you be able to push a router firmware updates remotely for your customers?
Yes. Yes. So the really cool thing on doing firmware updates. So once you're in the firmware tab, you'll be able to see what current firmware you're on right now, and then you'll be able to select the firmware that you want to do. And then all you have to do is hit upgrade. You'll notice this little reset button here. If this is not active, it'll keep the current settings if you enable this, it will reset it to factory defaults. I honestly don't know why we have the factory defaults. I can probably think of a couple of reasons why we have it there, but technically you do not need to, well, you'd want to keep your existing customer settings. So that's why it's default off. And so if you reset to factory defaults, you're going to have to do that and know that you've done that. But yeah, once you do the firmware upgrade, from the status page or over here on the device's status page, you can watch that firmware kind of take place. And how we do that is, it's just like this Turner security here that's offline right now. Once that firmware update takes place, the device will go offline and you'll just see it slowly trickling down every few minutes. And it usually takes about 4 to 5 minutes for that update to take place, that firmware upgrade to take place. And then all of a sudden, boom, it'll bounce right back to the top in the #1 spot, and you can see that the device is online. So yes, you can do remote firmware updates. That's one of the things, about the only time that you really have to reboot the router. If you were to take a look, if I showed you here, I can do this one here. You'll have some options here on the status page to reboot the router itself or factory reset the router as well too. But everything else you change on the router setting wise does not require a factory reboot on the router. And so it takes it live and applies it.
Thank you very much, Bill, for that. Next question here for you. Does your remote management allow for port forwarding and QoS configurations?
Great question. Currently today, it doesn't, but it is a feature that we are adding. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised that will be showing up here in the next couple of months here. But that is on the development list to add all those features to do port forwarding, QoS services, so you can prioritize the traffic. It does support VLAN trafficking as well. So I can literally tag the router for a specific VLAN if I just want to run all my video, let's say my surveillance cameras at my home on a specific VLAN, I can separate that traffic out from any other data traffic. So, and we actually have some customers that are using these products specifically for voice provisioning. So they are using it as a DHCP server for their voice services at their business, and they're VLANing the traffic and prioritizing that traffic as well. So, yes.
Thank you so much, Bill. Next question here. It sounds similar to another question, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to ask you anyway.
Great.
It says here, on updating your router's firmware, is it okay to do it wirelessly, or does a computer need to be hardwired to the router to do it?
You can do it either way, actually. If you're on site and you're doing a firmware upgrade for that device, you can tether to the LAN port and log into the router, or you can connect to it wirelessly and do it. Now, this is what we're showing you here from Nexus. This is a cloud service. So this is actually a website. It's called nexus.readynetsolutions.com. So if you log into your web page, and you can be literally anywhere in the world that you have internet access, you can remote and manage those devices or see what's going on from a dashboard perspective, what's going on your network.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. Last question here for you. And this is regarding contacting support at ReadyNet Solutions. Is the best way to contact support, obviously with a customer, maybe they should start by reaching us here at Microcom, and then we'll reach out to you and then maybe escalate it. It gets escalated from there. What do you suggest?
Yeah, so you bring up some good points. So we always ask the end user customer to contact their service provider first, and have the service provider try to walk them through or solve the problem. If that does not work, then yeah, you can always contact Microcom. They have the ability to contact us, or you can contact us through our support portal at ReadyNet Solutions. You just select the product, and it will get you all kinds of information. So on the WR1200, I just click on there, and from there it gives me the latest firmware updates and some of the changes. It also walks you through how to do the firmware updates on the router as well. And if that doesn't work, you do have options to contact us over the phone or through email. So if you click on contact us here, it takes you to the contact page. There's some phone numbers. Customer service, ReadyNet's always a good one. Engineering's a good one. They're all good ones. They get back to you in a very timely manner on that. So, and you can, just type in your name and a short message if you want to do it that way as well also. But yeah, definitely contact your distributor as well. They have a great support system in place, and they could probably help you out very quickly. Because if it is an advanced replacement or something like that, we would need you to work through distribution, and then we can get that taken care of on the back end. So.
Bill, thank you so much for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending our webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, of course, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And in addition to that, please remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so you could view it again. Bill, thank you. We appreciate it. Until next time, everybody have a fantastic day.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Julie, and thank you for everyone participating. Have a great day.
You're welcome, Bill. Welcome so much. Bye-bye now.